Tianchen began to feel exhausted. I've been hitting it for so long, yet this thing still hasn't been affected at all. The power difference is just too huge. Continuing like this isn't going to work. I need to get out of here and figure something out later. He pulled a grenade from his pocket, used his teeth to pull the pin, and threw it with all his strength into the zombie's mouth. The zombie, affected by the explosion in its mouth, fell to the ground. Everyone was shocked to see the huge monster dead, unable to believe the grenade's power was that strong. Tianchen slid down from the fallen zombie. It groaned, seeming like it was still alive. Tianchen ran back to the group and shouted, "Hurry, we need to get out of here. One grenade isn't enough to kill that monster." Tianchen and the group had to run quickly. At the base of Tianchen's team, those here were also struggling to fend off the zombies. The northern area had been cleared, and it was reported that the zombie wave was likely retreating, with very few zombies roaming in packs around the area. Zhang Tingyu had received this information. Luo Xiaoyu, concerned, asked, "The zombie wave is retreating, so why hasn't Zhou Tianchen's group returned yet?" Zhang Tingyu replied, "The zombie wave started to break up the night before yesterday, and it's been 2 days since then. If Zhou Tianchen's group was successful, they should have returned by now." At that moment, the door opened, and it was the group of Tianchen returning. He was carrying Gao Fei on his back and immediately ordered, "Gather all the evolved people for an emergency meeting." Luo Xiaoyu and Zhang Tingyu, not understanding what was going on, were unable to react in time. Tianchen didn't have time to explain to them and simply said, "We've got a big problem." When the evolved individuals had gathered, the green-haired man was surprised to see that these 10 large, evolved people were all under his command. He didn't expect this. In Manhwa, even a small faction or a regular base with just one evolved person can dominate everywhere. Yet you have 10 of them. I don't understand what kind of person you are. Tianchen looked at the group in the room and was surprised. There are only 5 people, the rest are all at level 1. Zhang Tingyu said, "Evolved people are already scarce in the mining area, and we've lost a lot of manpower due to the zombie flood. Having 5 is already very good." Tianchen said, "As for the mutated entity, I've already analyzed it with everyone earlier. You should have a basic understanding by now. This mutated entity can sense the location of this thing, which means sooner or later, it will come here." Someone raised an opinion and said, "Can we throw this thing away? That way, the monster won't come after them anymore." Tianchen explained, "If this mutated creature can obtain this fragment, it is very likely to evolve once again, potentially even evolving into intelligence. By then, don't even mention Longhua City, the entire central area might fall, and there will be nowhere to run. I know everyone is clinging to the hope of surviving, but unfortunately, this disaster is even more terrifying than the zombies. Humans and virus-infected individuals cannot reach a compromise or reconcile. If we want to live peacefully in the future, there is only one way, to kill it." After hearing this, everyone was confused. They wanted to know just how powerful this zombie was. Tianchen explained, "Its current strength is at the advanced stage of level 1. Young Master Zhao of the Zhao family was originally at the beginner stage of level 2. They hadn't expected, even level 2 can be divided like this. No wonder Zhao Yuliang is so strong, it turns out he's a whole level ahead of us." Zhang Tingyu said, "If you can defeat Zhao Yuliang, then I must be even stronger than him. Wouldn't that make me at level 3? Tianchen replied, "Right now, you are still at the intermediate stage of level 2. However, anyone below level 3 is not a threat to you. Although the new scars will slow your leveling speed, they will make your foundation more solid, and at the same time, help you fight above your level." Luo teacher, earlier, you mentioned that Luo Xiaoyu's ability is also at the 2nd peak level. Do you think it could defeat that mutated form? Tianchen confirmed, "Probably not. That evolved form is already at the equivalent of a 3rd peak level. If it gets its hands on their meteorite fragments, it will evolve to the 4th level. What they need to do now is prepare thoroughly before it arrives. Only then will they have a chance to take a risk. The evolution of that monster to the 4th level is truly difficult, they fear certain death." Tianchen asked, how much of the Zhao family's supplies are left? Zhang Tingyu replied, not much. Tianchen instructed, take me to see. At the supply depot, what remained was all in front of them, 2 crates of explosives. Tianchen looked at these 2 crates thoughtfully, and Zhang Tingyu said, this is all they have for now. There are more bullets, but they probably won't be very useful. Since the explosives were insufficient, Tianchen had to think of another way. Green Hair asked, could we give these 2 crates of explosives to him? Tianchen didn't understand, and Green Hair explained, he just wants to help them out because you saved him. He's an architect, and he has studied demolition using explosives. With these 2 crates of explosives, he could collapse a skyscraper. Tianchen asked him, are you planning to crush that mutated body to death? That was indeed his plan. He could control the timing of the explosion, but he needed someone to cooperate. Tianchen immediately said, Zhang Tingyu, lead your team to fully cooperate with him. The trap was supposed to be handled by Luo Teacher, but she said, I'm afraid I can't do it this time. Recently, she had been using materials from the Zhao family to set up a simple temporary office. The weapon-making process for him had entered a critical stage, so she couldn't leave. Tianchen didn't expect that she had already started working on the weapon. Luo Teacher asked, do you want to come and see? Inside the room, there was a small furnace operating with the help of 2 young men. They were doing their best to move wooden crates to keep the furnace going. Luo Teacher said, according to your request, I've selected a few alloys for testing, and in the end, I decided to use titanium alloy combined with some other metals for support. This way, the hardness and durability will be higher. Tianchen asked, what step are you at now? Luo Teacher replied, it's almost done, in about 10 minutes it will be poured into the mold to take shape. Tianchen wanted her to add the meteorite fragment he had given her. He said, it must not come into direct contact with it, as it carries a high concentration of the mutated virus. Just put it in. Luo Teacher took some lava from the furnace and picked up the meteorite fragment, placing it into the container of lava. The temperature of the lava immediately spiked, turning the whole container into a dark red color, which looked very frightening. Luo Teacher observed the reaction and had a sudden idea. She opened the lid and poured the contents inside. Originally, when pouring it into the mold, it would take at least 3 days for the water to cool down enough to finish. However, after evolving, she gained a new ability, one that seemed to be tailor-made for this crafting task. She removed her gloves, touched the molten metal inside, and controlled the still melting metal. The metal flowing out no longer bubbled as vigorously as it had at first, gradually taking shape before solidifying. Tianchen recognized this ability to control metal. With her knowledge of crafting and understanding of metals, coupled with this power, she could easily adjust the molten metal into its perfect form. No wonder she's called the best blacksmith, Tianchen thought. After dipping the weapon into water to finish it, the weapon had taken form. Next, she would have to polish and sharpen it, and finally, it would undergo further processing before the blade could be fully completed. This will probably take half the time. My ability still isn't skilled enough to sharpen it yet, she murmured to herself. This stage can only be done manually. Then I'll leave this part to you. Once you're done, head straight to the battlefield, as quickly as possible, he said. He turned back and asked Luo Lan if Gao Fei had woken up yet. Luo Lan replied, he's still not awake. Tianchen didn't know what had happened for Gao Fei to still be unconscious. Luo Lan said, since we got back, I've tried everything, but Gao Fei still hasn't woken up. If it weren't for his steady breathing, I would have thought he was dead. Tianchen had no choice but to go take a look. Gao Fei had been unconscious for 2 days. Tianchen couldn't understand, their mental attacks on mutated bodies shouldn't be able to cause this, and it's impossible to stay in a coma for this long. Besides, this person is from the mental system, so he should have some resistance to mental attacks. Unless... Tianchen asked Luo Lan to turn away, then lifted Gao Fei's clothes to check. As expected, the mark is spreading. He's fallen into a deep coma. Luo Lan didn't understand. Usually, only third-level evolved people fall into this state during the process of absorbing meteorite fragments. It helps evolved individuals rapidly enhance their physical strength and also increases their resistance to viruses, completing the process of upgrading their supernatural abilities. Luolan happily said, "Isn't this a great thing? He's about to level up." Tian Chen didn't share the same excitement. He was deeply worried, knowing that while a deep coma might be a good sign, Gao Fei had a very serious hidden danger, the inner demon. A coma like this would force one to face their greatest fears, flaws, or insecurities. If one's willpower wasn't strong enough, they could go mad and fall into depravity. Luo Lan was also scared after hearing what he said. Tian Chen had sent someone here to keep watch. Before Gao Fei woke up, they could only wish him good luck. Tian Chen stood in front of the door, lingering by the doorknob, silently watching Gao Fei. He said, "Keep watch and report anything immediately." Luo Lan was still deep in thought about the inner demon Tian Chen had mentioned earlier. Tian Chen asked her, "What's wrong?" She replied, "I'm just worried about Gao Fei." At that moment, someone announced that the zombie had arrived. Everyone was caught off guard by how quickly it had appeared. Tian Chen urged, "Hurry up." The green-haired man also said to him, "I didn't expect it to come this fast, we're not prepared yet." Tian Chen ordered him to continue with his work. The giant zombie was now outside, wreaking havoc on the buildings. The explosives were not ready yet, and the green-haired man still needed at least 10 more minutes. He said, "Keep working, I'll buy some time." Outside, the giant zombie truly had terrifying destructive power. It threw entire floors of a building into another building, causing it to collapse. Everyone in the team, including Zhang Tingyu, gaped in awe at its strength. The zombie noticed something and turned its face toward them. Some people, seeing its power, became hesitant, trembling as if they wanted to run away. Zhang Tingyu scolded and reminded him, "Don't just stand there, get to work if you want to survive." But even he himself trembled in fear before the zombie. He said to Tian Chen, "The zombie has spotted me." Tian Chen replied, "Let me distract it." He took a deep breath and shouted, cursing stupid giant to attract its attention. When it turned and looked at him, Tian Chen was holding the pink meteorite shard that the zombie had been searching for. When the zombie saw the stone, it went wild, leaping toward it, right into his trap. The zombie screamed as it jumped, grabbing onto the building, climbing higher. When it reached the spot where Tian Chen was, he remained calm and faced it. Zhang Tingyu's pickup truck sped down the road, followed by a few others. Explosions rocked the base of the two tall buildings, while the zombie wreaked havoc on the rooftop. Tian Chen had to fight it. The blade of his weapon was visibly worn down. He thought, "It seems that it's hard to injure it with an ordinary blade." He asked Green Hair when she would be done. When Green Hair said it would only take a little while longer, Tian Chen took out the meteorite fragment again to provoke the zombie. Holding the broken piece that had fallen from the building, the zombie jumped after it, but it didn't expect that Tian Chen had used the blade to embed it into the building, preventing him from falling. As a result, only the zombie fell heavily to the building. After 10 minutes, Tian Chen asked, "Is everything ready?" Zhang Tingyu reported, "The driving team is ready. The two people from Luo Lan have taken their positions. Green Hair has finished placing the bombs, and the plan has started to be carried out." Zhang Tingyu made the first move. Seeing the giant zombie, he jumped out of the vehicle, leaving the truck behind, charging straight into the zombie's face, causing an explosion. With that, their team's mission was complete. Tian Chen, run! The green-haired man also ran after him, asking, "What should we do next?" Tian Chen reminded him to detonate the bomb, saying, "Don't just stand there, detonate it now." Only then did Green Hair press the detonator button. After the detonation, the two buildings collapsed, crushing the zombie underneath. Tian Chen swiftly leaped onto the falling zombie. The zombie stretched out its hand to strike him, but Tian Chen used his strength to dodge. He jumped to the top of the giant zombie's head. A massive explosion occurred at the spot where the zombie was, engulfing the area in a cloud of dust. The figures of Tianchen and Greenhair gradually emerged from the smoke. Everyone thought it was over and was about to breathe a sigh of relief, glad to have survived. However, Tianchen reminded them to quickly gather the evolved individuals. He said, "It's still alive." At that moment, the zombie rose to its feet. Everyone gasped, not expecting it to still be alive. Tianchen stood watching it and asked Greenhair, "Can you still run?" Greenhair, breathing heavily, replied, "I can still run." Tianchen instructed, "Immediately return to the headquarters and tell Lin Wei to hurry." Greenhair understood and followed his instructions, while Tianchen continued issuing orders to Zheng Tingyu's group, split into two teams, one to attack from the left and one from the right. Teacher La and Luo Lan did the same. When the attack began, each person was responsible for one side, while Tianchen would focus on its head. The entire team then rushed forward. The zombie noticed the group's attack, and Luo Lan quickly slashed at its arm. While the zombie was still growling, Tianchen continued to strike directly at its fist. The green-haired man had arrived at the scene, shouting Lin Wei's name loudly. Lin Wei, still working, turned around with her face covered in grime and asked him, "What's going on?" The green-haired man replied, "Tianchen is fighting the giant zombie. He sent me to find you and told you to hurry up." Lin Wei said she understood, and the weapon she was working on seemed to be nearly finished, with a part of it now visible. The green-haired man was stunned when he saw it. The weapon Tianchen had sent him to retrieve was the fiery red sword she had just forged. The three of them, Tianchen, Luolan, and Luo Xiaoyu, were still fiercely battling the zombie. Tianchen kept slashing at the zombie, but this creature was truly tough to deal with, and his sword had shattered into pieces. At this moment, Lin Wei's new sword was finally completed. Tianchen watched in disbelief as his strikes on the monster's body healed rapidly. He widened his eyes and said, "Everyone, get away from it, I know this zombie is about to evolve." Luo Lan and Luo Xiaoyu were also knocked back. Others couldn't understand why this monster had suddenly become so crazed and powerful, and they quickly fled. Its defensive ability and speed are freakishly fast. Think about it, has this thing evolved to the 4-star level already? He was struck by the giant hand of the zombie that suddenly appeared from behind. Tianchen realized it too late, and as he turned around, he was kicked with a loud thud, his body slammed into the ground, shattered. The zombie continued to try to stomp on him, but it was distracted by the bullets Luo Lan shot at its face. She yelled to provoke the zombie towards herself. The zombie raised its enormous hand, and Luo Lan quickly fled, thinking she would die at its hands, but the zombie suddenly stopped. Luo Lan trembled as she looked up and saw Tianchen holding up the zombie's hand in her place, his body shaking as if he had used up all his strength. Tianchen grimaced and shouted at Luo Lan, "Go now!" Then, the hand slammed into the ground, but Tianchen was thrown out. She rushed to check on him, but Tianchen urged, "You two quickly leave here." "But what about you?" she asked. He replied, "This thing has reached the 4-star level, it can attract the zombie horde. Come here, the two of you go help the others defend. Leave this to me." The two people looked at him and then ran off as instructed. Holding the meteorite stone in his hand, he looked at the zombie and thought, severely injured, no weapons, the virus energy in its body is depleted. Do I really have to use it? At that moment, a voice called his name. Tianchen turned to see Lin Wei bringing a saber to him. She was loudly telling him, "Catch it." Then she threw it toward him. The zombie howled fiercely. Tianchen grabbed the saber, his face breaking into a smile that resembled a villain's, and complimented Lin Wei's craftsmanship as impeccable. "This is a good saber." As soon as he held the saber, he chopped off the zombie's hand into several pieces. The zombie's blood tendrils immediately activated, trying to rejoin the severed fingers. Tianchen smiled at its ability to regenerate, then continued to sever the zombie's hand again. The zombie screamed in pain, fell down, and suddenly let out an earth-shattering roar. Its scream attracted a horde of zombies. A large number of zombies, upon hearing the sound, began heading toward it. Everyone also heard something coming from the side of the road. They were still wondering what it was. The footsteps of the zombies quickly converged in this direction. Some other places were the same, causing the crowd to panic. Luo Xiaoyu said, "Don't panic." She and Luo Lan calmly issued orders, "Everyone, block them, by time for Tian Chen. Don't let these minions get close and disturb him." Everyone rushed to join the two. Tian Chen was now standing on the rooftop of a building. He snorted coldly as he faced the giant zombie. Now there were only the two of them left. Tian Chen wielded his blade, leaping towards the zombie and slicing off one of its arms. Then he leapt again, charging straight for the zombie's head. Tian Chen stood on top of it, raising his blade and stabbing straight down into its head to kill it. The zombie growled, shaking as if to throw him off. Tian Chen struggled to maintain his position on its head, but it was still not dead, and he was thrown down. Just as Tian Chen fell, the zombie struck, sending him crashing violently to the ground. Lying on the ground, he realized that its weak point wasn't the head, but he was too injured to move. Tian Chen despaired, "Is this the end?" But suddenly, a voice startled him. The voice asked, "Why are you spaced out all of a sudden?" He looked up and saw the person he cared about the most, Xian. She was scolding him, "Didn't you promise to protect me? You can't even handle climbing one floor?" Tian Chen recalled his past life, the scene when he was struggling to climb the stairs, and a hand reaching out to him. She smiled and urged him to hurry. "You promised that we would live together until the end." Tian Chen saw her gentle face and smiled happily, firmly grasping her hand. "That's right, I promised, and they also promised they would never forget." Tian Chen held the meteorite in his hand, the one he had told everyone not to touch directly. His eyes darkened, and Tian Chen opened his mouth, swallowing it. The power within seemed to spread throughout his body, making him feel as if he were going crazy. Tian Chen widened his eyes, gritting his teeth as he screamed. The power released was so intense that it caused smoke to rise around him. Tian Chen growled, and the zombies, hearing the sound, seemed to go mad. They realized the steel sound earlier was from Tian Chen. "We don't know what happened to him." Luo Lan, while fighting, reminded everyone, "Don't get distracted." But the little girl was still a bit thoughtful. On the side of the zombie monster, in front of it, was a very different Tian Chen. His entire body seemed to be enveloped in a layer of black, his eyes had changed color to something special, and his hair had turned white. The zombie growled and rushed towards him. Tian Chen used a sword, delivering a strong strike that severed the zombie's arm. Tian Shen's face broke into a carefree smile, but his eyes were hidden, giving him a somewhat frightening look. The giant zombie, seeing his appearance, completely changed direction, calling for its mom while running away in fear. Tian Shen stood there, not intending to chase after it. He threw the sword towards the creature, and the blade lodged deeply into its back, causing it to stagger. Tian Shen leaped onto its back, withdrew the sword, and with a swift strike, cleaved the zombie in half. The zombie howled in fear, and Tian Chen laughed heartily. He noticed something glowing on its body. A piece of meteorite appeared. Tian Chen grabbed the meteorite fragment, using his bare hands to punch through its head, smashing it open. When the zombie fell, it was also the moment Tian Chen landed on the ground. His body seemed to return to normal, his eyes came back, but it seemed as if he had exhausted all his energy. His gaze grew blurry, and he closed his eyes. His body collapsed onto the ground, still holding the meteorite in his hand. A truck appeared and then stopped right where Tian Chen had collapsed. Zhang Tingyu got out of the truck and called for someone to come quickly to help. "Hurry up, we need help." He checked Tian Shen's breath and let out a sigh of relief. "Thankfully, he's still breathing. I was scared out of my mind." Tian Shen's hand was still gripping the sword so tightly that no one could pry it open or twist it. "Let's just get him on the truck and figure it out later." Then the two of them carried him onto the truck. In the late afternoon, the vehicle drove away, and Tian Chen was placed sitting on a seat, his hand still clutching the sword. The birthmarks on Tian Shen's arm spread across his entire body, and there were also some appearing on his face. Two glowing circles appeared on Tian Shen's forehead. When he opened his eyes, he saw 3 differently colored spheres in front of him. "This is my mental space. In my previous life, I entered the mental space when I broke through to the third level advanced stage, and I had the help of Xin Xin as well. But in this life, I managed to do it at the second level. He was surprised to see these 3 energy orbs appear in his mental space. The pink-red energy orb, although originating from the meteorite fragment, was very unique and powerful. Looks like it's my sword. The 2 energy orbs beneath it were not only violent but also full of aggression, likely fragments of the meteorite dropped by the giant leader. He realized, these 3 streams of energy, though extremely violent, suppress and deplete each other, achieving a miraculous balance. It is because of this that I have not been mutated by their influence. However, this is also a golden opportunity for him. As long as I don't break their balance, I can absorb this energy little by little to serve myself. This process will be very long, requiring immense patience, and I must absolutely avoid being reckless. Tianshan gradually absorbed the power of the 3 orbs in his spiritual space. 2 weeks later, at a gas station, the group of underlings reported to Zhang Tingyu that their operation had gone very smoothly, and the gas station had been cleared out. Zhang Tingyu reminded them to be careful on their way back. The group, seeing that everything had been going so smoothly lately, felt reassured. After dealing with the giant zombie, their base in Longhua continued to rise. Other factions and strongholds that encountered them had to take detours. It was all because of Tianshan. Some even said, at this rate, unifying Longhua won't be an issue. With Tianshan here, it's only a matter of time. At that moment, someone suddenly ran over and said, "There's trouble." Seeing him in a panic, the group asked, "What's going on?" The blonde-haired man reported, "People from Hufeng are here." The 2 groups of people came face to face. One of Tianshan's men asked, "Why isn't Boss Hu of theirs here?" A burly man from the other side said, "This is a small matter. Let their subordinates handle it." Hearing this, it was clear that Hufeng wasn't coming. The man with the fake hair combed it and pretended to cough. He smugly said to the burly man, "They've almost finished gathering everything. If they come to block us like this, it won't be too good." The burly man replied, "The rules of this mining area are clear. Tianshan's men arrived first and take 6 parts, they came after, so they'll take 4 parts. The man with the fake hair leaned closer to the burly man and said, "The rule you're talking about is outdated. Haven't you heard? The current leader of Longhua City is Hufeng." The burly man, angry, asked, "What do you mean?" He replied, "Go ask Boss Hu. When we fought against the zombie flood, where was he? Was he there when we fought the giant zombies? Longhua City has changed hands for a long time now, and their rules no longer need to be followed. Tianshan's men have their eyes on these supplies, and they'll take everything." The people behind him also cursed, saying, "We'll take everything." By now, the burly man was furious and threatened, "Be careful. You should still show some respect to Boss Hu." Suddenly, someone spoke up, and as soon as this person stepped forward, the members of Tianshan were taken aback. This person was Hufeng. As he stepped out, he immediately said, "I don't judge by appearances. It's been more than half a month since I've seen Zhua Tianshan. I heard before that he was injured." The man with the slicked back hair, seeing him, naturally had to change his attitude immediately. He put on a fawning and humble expression and said, "Tianshan is still in good health, and he appreciates your concern." In his heart, however, he was secretly evaluating Hufeng, feeling that he was just like the rumors described. Hufeng said, "Tianshan truly killed a giant zombie. He is a hero of the entire Longhua City." Hufeng was also impressed. He even had his people leave and said, "My people have caused trouble for them. Please pass on my apologies to Zhua Tianshan." The man with the slicked back hair, seeing this, happily responded, "You're too polite. It's just a misunderstanding." He was even happily waving him off, looking quite foolish. He said, "The remaining supplies won't be moved anymore. We'll move our things here first." One of Hufeng's burly subordinates raised a question, "Why? We've had our eyes on this place for a long time. How can we let them take it like this?" Hufeng said, "It's fine. He darkened his expression and said, "What belongs to us will still belong to us." The news of the encounter with Hu Feng reached Zhang Tingyu's ears. He hurriedly asked, "Did he do anything to them?" Upon hearing that Hu Feng did nothing, only inquiring about Tian Chen's situation, the response came, "Recently, Hu Feng's people have been constantly confronting them. Today, he even personally appeared, yet did nothing. They even handed over all their supplies to them and asked them to apologize to Tian Chen." Zhang Tingyu still advised them, "Be careful on your way back." He sensed that something was off here. Something unusual means there's a problem. Tell everyone to stay alert. Hu Feng is likely to take action soon. I just hope Tian Chen and Gao Fei wake up quickly. Another person reported, "People from the Peace region have arrived." Zhang Tingyu asked, "How many of them?" The reply came, 6 people, but they are all evolved beings. Zhang Tingyu was surprised. He said, "Lead them to another room to wait, I'll go find the 2 of them." Lin Wei obeyed the order while on the side, where the buildings had collapsed, Luo Lan and Luo Xiaoyu were fighting. But it could also be said that Luo Lan was attacking Luo Xiaoyu alone, while Luo Xiaoyu was calmly defending. Luo Lan's face showed a look of anger. She recalled the events that happened during the previous battle when Tianchen had taken the blow for her. After thinking for a moment, the little girl realized that she was still not strong enough. It seemed that she wanted to become stronger quickly. Luo Lan was kicked into the air, thrown away, but she managed to regain her balance by using her legs. Furthermore, she quickly charged toward Luo Xiaoyu. "Wow, your speed is truly impressive," Luo Xiaoyu exclaimed, surprised by the little girl's speed. "That move just now, did I surpass the speed of sound? Is this my second-tier ability?" Luo Lan had just discovered the speed of sound instantly. Luo Xiaoyu thought, "With just that move, I could kill anyone below the mid-tier second level in 1 second." As she spoke, she raised her swollen, red wing. Luo Lan, however, still felt she was far behind Tian Chen. She pouted, looking somewhat dissatisfied. "Little girl, breaking through to the mid-tier second level in such a short time is already impressive," Luo Xiaoyu comforted her. Luo Lan got back into a defensive stance, as if preparing to fight Luo Xiaoyu again. She wanted to try once more. Luo Xiaoyu thought the girl was too impatient recently. Evolution didn't always mean the faster, the better. She advised, "On this point, you should learn from Zhang Tingyu and Lin Wei. Only by taking steady steps can you progress further." When Zhang Tingyu heard his name mentioned, he froze for a moment, saying, "Why are you 2 here?" Zhang Tingyu reported, "There are quite a few people from the Peace region coming here, go meet with them." Luo Lan shook her head. She refused to meet them because she wanted to focus on her training. Luo Xiaoyu said again, "No, we have to go." Luo Lan pouted, "Some of them are evolved people, what's so special about them?" Luo Xiaoyu explained that they were all evolved people. Zhang Tingyu is still at level 1, he needs them there to support his authority. Luo Xiaoyu had thought it through carefully, so Luo Lan reluctantly agreed to go along. At the meeting table, the 2 groups met, and behind the mutated people, there was a person dressed in black. The girl with pink hair spoke first. "Where is Zhuo Tianchen? Why isn't he coming out?" Zhang Tingyu replied to her, "If there's something, just talk to him directly." But she refused to speak. "This is a big matter, I'm afraid he can't make a decision on his own." Zhang Tingyu wasn't concerned, he said, "There is nothing so serious here that Luo Lan and Luo Xiaoyu can't make a decision about." The pink-haired girl then glanced at the 2 people opposite her, realizing that they were both second-level evolved people. The pink-haired girl recognized them. Luo Xiaoyu is the one at the blood station that day. The evolved person with her is Zhuo Tianchen. She understood why Tianchen was able to destroy the Zhao family while fighting against the zombie horde. "I didn't expect there would be so many experts around him." The pink-haired girl immediately stated her purpose: "We want to join Tianchen's team and dedicate ourselves to him." Zhang Tingyu asked in doubt, "So, it's because the Peace region has fallen?" Tianchen's group still didn't know about this. The zombie horde that attacked half a month ago left its mark. The entire city of Longhua was overrun with zombies, and the Peace region was no exception. Their mining area was under Zhuo Tianchen's suppression, but their side was divided into pieces. When the zombies arrived, everyone was scattered. After the horde retreated, the peace region was no longer the peaceful place it once was. At that moment, Hu Feng arrived. Hu Feng led a group to the peace region, raising the flag of rebuilding the peace region, recruiting people to join him. Before Zhuo Tianchen appeared, Hu Feng was already recognized as the leader of Longhua City, and many people decided to follow him. Now, Hu Feng has nearly absorbed all the elite forces from the peace region, and his power has grown exponentially. After hearing this, Luolan slammed her hand down on the table, angrily shouting, "We were fighting against giant zombies while setting up defenses against the zombie horde, risking our lives, almost dying." Luolan said, yet Hu Feng took this opportunity to expand his influence. Luo Xiaoyu looked at her, reminding her to sit down calmly, and only then did Luolan obediently settle down. She said, "Tingyu, continue." He said, "For the people of the peace region, whether you follow Hu Feng or go to them, what's the difference? Why did they choose the Tianchen side?" Everyone fell silent upon hearing this question, no one spoke. Until Lin Ling explained, "I don't think Hu Feng is a good leader. Hu Feng is a scheming person, anyone in the base who resents or is dissatisfied with him gets sent to dangerous areas, and within a few days, they die. Among my comrades, some managed to escape under Hu Feng's rule, and some have held a grudge against him for a long time. In short, if I joined, it would be like walking into death. Moreover, I've heard of Zhuo Tianchen's achievements in fighting the zombie floods. Everyone greatly respects him. Right now, the only force that can rival Hu Feng is theirs." The base had gained more evolved people, and of course, they were very happy, but there were a few things Zheng Tingyu still had to make clear to them. The base is currently in a period of rapid and strong development, and for the time being, they don't want to engage in a war with a strong enemy like Hu Feng. He said, "Your group can join, but if you hope that Tianchen's team can deal with Hu Feng, I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you." Lin Ling knew he would say that, but she feared the situation was not as simple as he thought. Zhang Tingyu was puzzled. He turned to look at the person in the black cloak who had been standing in the room all this time. The person finally took off his hood, revealing a somewhat familiar head of hair. It was Bruce, wearing black glasses and with one arm in a cast. Zheng Tingyu asked, "Why is he here? Isn't he always following Zhao Yunsheng?" Bruce replied, "Zhao Yunsheng is dead. Hu Feng killed everyone, and now I'm the only one left." Zheng Tingyu was confused. Wasn't Hu Feng going to conquer the peace region? Why did he kill Zhao Yunsheng? Bruce said, "There's something he wants." Zhang Ting and Bruce then continued questioning and answering, but their conversation was unclear. Lin Ling was getting a headache from the two of them, so she covered both their mouths and said, "I will explain." After the Zhao family was wiped out by Tianchen's group, Zhao Yunsheng led a few trusted subordinates to the peace region. What Bruce means is that Zhao Yunsheng seems to have had some kind of trump card, something powerful enough to turn the tide. Zhao Yunsheng also didn't let his subordinates touch some kind of box. She said, but they only discovered that the situation with the zombies in the peace region was no better than in the mining area when they arrived in the peace region. And at that moment, Hu Feng also showed up, and their movements were exposed by Abu. In fact, from the very beginning, Abu had already been working for Hu Feng. Zheng Tingyu thought Hu Feng was really ruthless. He asked Luo Xiaoyu, "Do you know about this?" Luo Xiaoyu had also heard about Abu's betrayal, switching sides from Hu Feng to Zhao Yunsheng to act as an undercover agent. The Zhao family was so foolish that they didn't realize it. But Lin Ling and the others didn't know. When Abu betrayed Hu Feng, the entire mining area was shocked, because Abu had brought a severed head to the Zhao family. The head Abu delivered to the Zhao family was that of Hu Feng's younger brother, Huang. Luolan gasped in fear, her eyes wide, and said, "It was because of that head that Boss Zhao had no doubt about Abu's loyalty." She continued, "Everyone in the mining area suspected Abu of being a scoundrel. Even the people from the whole central region thought the same. So, Hu Feng used his own brother's life to set a huge trap. Bruce is the only one from their Zhao family still alive. He was rescued when he was being hunted down. Afterward, hearing about the great achievements of Tian Shen, he decided to come here. From the very beginning, Hu Feng's goal had always been to unify Longhua City. She continued, the Zhao family is the first sacrifice in Hu Feng's scheme. The peace region is the second, and now only the Tian Shen group is left. For his own purpose, he can even plot against his own brother, so there's nothing he wouldn't do. This story made the Tian Shen group ponder deeply. Zhang Tingyu sent people to find Lin Wei and the evolved group to hold a meeting with them. Meanwhile, in Zhuo Tianshan's mind, he was still absorbing the energy from the three spheres. After a period of absorption, the size of the three energy spheres had decreased significantly. With his current abilities, he should be able to control them now. The red energy sphere on top suddenly expanded. Tianshan thought it had been shattered, but then he realized something was off. It was the energy source sensing a threat, preparing to combine and attack him. The three energy spheres merged into a large sphere, emanating terrifying power with small black lightning bolts around it. Then, it suddenly erupted with intense energy. Tian Shen shielded himself with his body. He sighed, if this were in the past, this energy would have been a bit hard to absorb, but now it's too late for them. These three energy spheres won't be able to escape. Just as he was about to control them, he heard a voice from outside. It seemed like they were moving his position. A voice rang out, be careful not to let him fall. The underlings outside were informing Zhang Tingyu that they had moved Tian Shen and Gao Fei down to the basement. Zhang Tingyu on the other side also instructed them, lock the bunker door and keep watch there, do not open the door for anyone. The subordinates were still in the room, discussing whether they would go to war with Hu Feng or just be on the defensive. Some said they would go to war with Hu Feng because he seemed dignified and proper on the surface, but in reality, he was very cunning. He was the type of person with a cruel heart, and who would have thought Abu would use a strategy of pretending to be weak, even not sparing his own brother. Tian Shen understood that Zhang Tingyu's group outside wanted to start a war with Hu Feng. In the previous life, Hu Feng was also my top enemy, his strength cannot be underestimated. Since arriving in Longho, Hu Feng has already reached the second peak, and with his speed of evolution, he might even break through to the third peak. I must speed up the absorption process and leave seclusion as soon as possible. Luo Xiaoyu told Zhang Tingyu, in the past 2 days, Hu Feng's activities have been very active, and the surrounding territory has almost been completely taken over by him. Zhang Tingyu said, withdraw all forces to the base. With their current defense capability, it will be extremely difficult for Hu Feng to launch an attack here. Luo Xiaoyu said, but they can't defend forever, their supplies won't last long. Luo Xiaoyu went to check on Zhuo Tianshan, the energy fluctuations around him are growing stronger, he'll wake up soon. Suddenly, the little girl Xiao Shui appeared, and she cheerfully volunteered to fight alongside everyone. She had also evolved. Luo Xiaoyu lowered her head and smiled at Xiao Shui. She said, you're still just a child, let the adults handle the war. She assigned the little girl a task, go down to the basement and keep an eye on those two for me. Xiao Shui looked a bit sad but still obeyed her. Zhang Tingyu received a notification that someone from Hu Feng was coming. He quickly asked, how many people? He was about to rush out when he heard from the other side, only one person is coming. Luo Xiaoyu and Luo Lan were somewhat confused. Zhang Tingyu said, you guys wait there for a moment, I'll be right there. The only person arriving outside turned out to be Abu, who was puffing smoke from his cigarette. Bruce became agitated upon seeing him and angrily shouted, how dare you come here? Lin Ling stood behind him, advising, don't be so quick to react. He held the pipe in his hand and asked, where is Tian Shen, their unmatched hero? Didn't he die or something? Zhang Tingyu stepped forward and said, Tian Shen is still doing just fine. Dealing with these small fry doesn't require him to step in personally. When Abu saw Zhang Tingyu, he immediately mocked him, he's just an unknown first-level evolved person, and yet in less than half a month, he's become the boss of the great empire. Talk about being lucky. Zhang Tingyu was irritated, not understanding what he meant. He said, I'm just feeling a little sentimental, by the way, I have both good news and bad news to share. Which one do you want to hear first? Zhang Tingyu angrily replied, I don't want to hear either. Either he leaves their sight on his own, or they'll make him disappear. Abu was unafraid. He stood there and said, the people behind, leave. Dark figures immediately leaped out behind Abu. Tian Chen's group was shocked when they saw these people. There were so many of them, with over 70 evolved individuals. Abu, therefore, challenged them even more, to see how they would make him disappear. Since when did Hu Feng have so many evolved people? Lin Ling said, they must have realized it by now. When the zombie tide came, quite a few mutated zombies appeared, and many people broke through during the battles with them. Plus, there were crystal shards dropping from those monsters. Not only them, but the number of evolved people throughout Longhua City has been rapidly increasing, with many even breaking through to the second rank. Now that Hu Feng has also merged with the Peace region, his power is several times stronger than before. Abu arrogantly taunted the Tian Chen team, saying, they were so loud earlier, but now they've gone silent. Where is Tian Chen? Why hasn't he shown up yet? Don't tell me Zhou Tian Chen isn't coming out. Even if he does, what can he do? He won't be able to do anything. Just wait and die. His words angered Luolan, causing her to scowl. Her long hair was instantly cut short, leaving only a tuft on her forehead, resembling the look of old shepherd boys. Abu gasped in astonishment, saying, he turned into a bald donkey head, or rather, a child's head. Luolan, holding a dagger in her hand, had just shaved Abu's head with it. The girl behind him spoke up, saying, has Tian Chen done anything yet? It's not your place to judge. Abu, furious, raised his hand to strike behind him, demanding the girl return his hair. But of course, Luolan had already moved back into position. He didn't even have time to notice her speed, and with his abilities, it was impossible for him to touch Luolan. Maybe in your next life, she said. Hu Feng called out to him, saying, I've investigated. There's no trace of another expert nearby, so Zhou Tianchen must not be there. Therefore, he ordered Abu, take action. Abu smirked cruelly, he had been wanting to take action for a long time. He ordered his underlings to bring out the goods for him. After the command, Zhang Tingyu heard some noise, it seemed like the sound of an engine from a distance. Indeed, there was a vehicle resembling a tank, with several people on it, heading toward them. Abu's face lit up with joy, it's really a tank coming here. In this era, having a tank, I don't understand how Wu Feng managed to get one. Luo Xiaoyu sensed something was wrong, so she told Zhang Tingyu that she would leave this place to him, then charged toward the tank. The people on the tank, eager for a fight, aimed to deal with Luo Xiaoyu immediately. Zhang Tingyu quickly ordered Lin Wei and Bruce to help Luo Xiaoyu. Luo Xiaoyu needed the two of them to hold off the evolved humans so that she could stop the armored vehicle. The two of them rushed forward and swiftly knocked the people off the tank. Luo Xiaoyu seized the opportunity and charged directly at the tank, which was approaching at high speed. She used both of her hands to block the tank. However, Lin Wei also sensed something was wrong, the force of the armored vehicle is too strong, Luo Xiaoyu alone cannot hold it off. At that moment, a voice echoed to help her. It was the little girl, Xiao Shui. The little girl punched the tank, causing the front of it to crumple. Abu did not expect this, that kid is stronger than I thought. At that, he ordered his subordinates to go over and support the armored vehicle. The group of subordinates immediately obeyed the order. He left only 10 men behind, while the rest charged forward. Luo Xiaoyu scanned her surroundings seriously, with the remaining 10 subordinates surrounding her. Abu said, this is the tactic he had originally prepared to deal with Zhou Tianchen. Let him experience it first. These 10 men had formed a mental connection. Since being defeated by Zhou Tianchen, Abu had focused on strengthening his mental power. Now he could connect with 10 evolved individuals at once, helping them work together in a tight coordination. Let's see how the little girl plans to fight him. Luo Lan stood still, sneering coldly. Zhang Tingyu was still coordinating the formation, reinforcing the left wing, adding more evolved individuals to the right, narrowing the defense, but if this continued, they wouldn't be able to hold out. Judging from the situation, Luo Lan was stuck trying to block the armored vehicle, unable to break free. Luo Lan was being surrounded and needed someone else to rescue her. The other revolved individuals were still fighting on the front lines, leaving no one else to coordinate. Moreover, Hu Feng had yet to appear, and the plan of striking the snake by hitting its head couldn't be carried out. Is Zheng Tingyu about to lose? Elsewhere, this was the subconscious realm of Gao Fei. Gao Fei had heard a voice, someone calling his name, and he finally woke up. He didn't know who was calling him. Tian Shen replied, "I'm here." Gao Fei asked him, "Why is he here?" Tian Shen said, "This is not the time to explain. There is a war outside, you need to go help them immediately." Tian Shen continued, "Your mental power is limited, you can't talk to me for too long. In short, once you go outside, you must help them deal with Hu Feng. You need to hurry." Gao Fei still didn't understand what Hu Feng had to do with this. Tianchen was slowly fading away, he said, "Feel your body, you've reached the second peak now, you should be able to control your special abilities by now." Gao Fei was only concerned about why Tianchen was dissipating like this. He panicked and shouted loudly. Tianchen scolded him, "Stop talking nonsense, hurry up." Gao Fei moved toward the square-shaped portal above, raised his hand and said, "Tianchen, wait for me." He woke up at that moment. Hu Feng asked, "How's the situation with Abu?" Abu said, "There are a few experts blocking the armored vehicle, the progress is very slow, and the combat strength of Tianchen's group is very strong, they need more time." Hu Feng gave him 5 minutes, and reminded him, "Abu, don't make me intervene personally." Abu's face grew serious, he ordered everyone to use the strength of the marks on their bodies to finish the fight quickly. The group of subordinates immediately followed the order and activated the birthmarks on their bodies. Abu changed his strategy, advancing slowly but steadily. Luo Lan sensed something was wrong. Before, Tianchen seized the opportunity, and these guys would trigger their birthmarks in an outburst, causing chaos on the battlefield, so they could easily be dealt with. But this time, after the eruption, they chose a steady and slow approach. She couldn't detect any openings, and moreover, she wasn't familiar with power-enhancing moves like muscle strengthening, which were completely unsuitable for a joint attack. Abu laughed loudly and said, "The girl won't be able to resist." He had been defeated by Tianchen once before and vowed never to make the same mistake again. He had said, "No one can save them today. Not even Zhou Tianchen. Today, the whole central area will be united under the Longhua city." But after that, there was no more sound from Abu. He was blown apart in an explosion. His subordinates turned around and saw that where Abu had been, only a charred corpse remained, unrecognizable and in a very miserable state. Luo Lan had no idea what had happened, she wasn't the one who attacked. Then she heard Gao Fei's voice in her ear. It turned out he was the one who had used a gun to kill Abu. He was confident in his marksmanship. Everyone was overjoyed when they saw Gao Fei awake. Gao Fei smiled and said, "Fight freely, I'll cover for everyone." Gao Fei loaded another bullet into his gun. "Your firepower is quite strong now," Zheng Tingyu handed over command to Gao Fei. He wanted to move around a bit. This time, they charged with much more momentum than before. Hu Feng heard the news that Abu was dead. Someone reported to him, where did they find a marksman who could also be an artilleryman? In short, their firepower is terrifying. Hu Feng asked for clarification, is he a sniper or an artilleryman? The person on the other end said, he's probably a sniper. But their bullets can explode, and their power is comparable to artillery. Hu Feng was surprised to hear about the explosive potential. Not only Abu, but several top commanders on the front line have also been shot. Hu Feng immediately demanded the location of Gao Fei, but clearly, they could not locate him. Hu Feng couldn't understand why his subordinates said that an evolved person in their area should have no trouble dodging regular bullets, yet Gao Fei's bullets could curve. The more Hu Feng heard, the more unbelievable it sounded. His subordinate confirmed, "It's true, he toyed with us until we were killed. The bullets can change direction and explode, it's almost impossible to defend against." The subordinate was still asking what their next move should be, as the losses would be heavy. But just as he was hiding to speak with Hu Feng, he was shot dead by one of Gao Fei's bullets that took a long, winding path. Hu Feng could no longer hear anything, his mind was in turmoil. He hadn't expected such a skilled sniper. There was no longer any sound from his subordinates, but another voice emerged. Gao Fei greeted Hu Feng, telling him to guess who he was, and in the same breath, asked about the 18 generations of his ancestors. Of course, Hu Feng knew that the man was the expert sniper. He even tried to count how many people he had killed, but he knew for sure that it had to be quite a few. He even asked Hu Feng, "Shall we continue? I still have plenty of ammo. How many men do you have? I'll take care of them all." Hu Feng's face darkened. At that moment, he looked terrifying. He ordered his entire reserve team to deploy and search for the sniper. The group grew in size, and Tian Shen's team didn't expect there were still more of them. "How many people has Hu Feng gathered by now?" Luo Lan asked. Gao Fei replied, "Where did Hu Feng's army come from?" Gao Fei added, "There are no more ambush troops around here. This must be Hu Feng's last resort. He's ready to have a final showdown with Tian Shen's group." Gao Fei said, "Everyone retreat. I'll take care of picking off their revolvers one by one. By then, Hu Feng won't be able to sit still." Luo Lan reminded him, "If you're planning to stay in one spot and shoot as a sniper, it's very easy to expose your position." Gao Fei said, "Don't worry, I am capable of protecting myself." The bullets he fired all exploded, causing significant damage to the whole central army. His subordinates had to report to Hu Feng, "The casualties are too heavy, they can't hold out any longer." Hu Feng said, "We've located the sniper, leave him to me, and the rest, keep pushing forward." Meanwhile, Gao Fei kept shooting and killing these people, so relaxed that he even sat back and sang joyfully. While enjoying himself, he heard a voice from behind. Hu Feng appeared, and Gao Fei was surprised by how quickly he had arrived, but still, his face remained carefree, showing no sign of concern. If Gao Fei remembered correctly, the man was called Hu Feng, and he wanted him to join his side. He said, "Your abilities are quite impressive. If you were to die, it would be a great loss." But Gao Fei was a stubborn man. "Boss Hu, you flatter me too much." Hu Feng continued, "It's a pity, but I already have an owner." This was why Hu Feng decided not to spare him. He simply touched Gao Fei, and Gao Fei was sent flying far away. He found it very strange. Clearly, this guy just touched me lightly, but why is his strength so overwhelming? Hu Feng said, "Your abilities are strong, but in close combat, you are still no match for me." Gao Fei was forced to use his expertise, standing at a distance where he could shoot at him. Hu Feng stood still, using his bare hands to catch his bullet. To his surprise, the bullet slipped from his hand, swung around behind him, and exploded. Hu Feng took the brunt of the explosion, and it had a significant impact on him. This made him angry, and he hadn't expected that someone could control a bullet to such an extent. "You made my entire body feel like it's falling apart. You're going to die today." Gao Fei quickly ran away. Hu Feng chased after him. Just as he was about to catch him, Gao Fei fired a bullet behind him. The two continued their chase. Gao Fei suddenly stopped because there was no way forward. Hu Feng was right behind him. "The kite-flying game ends here." Gao Fei turned around to face him, took off his glasses, and smiled. After all, his mission was over. Now it's someone else's turn. Hu Feng didn't understand, but just then, someone walked up the stairs and greeted him. "Long time no see, still doing well?" Hu Feng turned to look at the person. It was Tian Shen. He told him, "The debt from before is due for payment now." Earlier, when Gao Fei was happily singing and defeating the enemy, Zhuo Tianchen had already appeared. Gao Fei saw that he had woken up and said, "Then it seems the battle can be concluded now." Tianchen also praised Gao Fei's newly discovered ability, that ability to deflect bullets and make them explode. "You can store some of your virus energy in the bullet," he explained. "After impacting it with this energy stream, it feels like casting a spell. Right now, I haven't fully mastered it, but I can apply a slight force on its trajectory. This is the principle behind bullet guidance. As for the explosion, it only requires a certain speed. Simply put, it uses its own kinetic energy to trigger the stored energy inside. That's why it's most convenient with guns. The farther the bullet travels, the stronger the energy it releases. Currently, the most energy I can store has a destructive power comparable to a gun's firepower. Each time, I can enchant 30 bullets, and any more than that I can't control, they will quickly dissipate on their own. So, right now, I'm like a gun that continuously fires 30 rounds. Tianchen happily patted Gao Fei's shoulder. Now your attack power is much stronger than mine. He said, we're definitely going to win this battle. But winning this battle alone is useless. Hu Feng must be eradicated. Otherwise, Longhua City will never be peaceful. But Gao Fei said, he's very cunning, he's never shown himself from the beginning to the end. Tianchen handed Gao Fei Hu Feng's headphones and said, I'll lure him out. This was his specialty, so he didn't intervene any further and instructed, be a bit more arrogant in your speech. He's already at the second-tier peak now. Hu Feng smirked wickedly, and just like that, they began their plan to lure Hu Feng out. For now, Hu Feng would have to fight two people. He stood between them and charged at Tianchen. He used a similar move on Gao Fei, only making contact with his hand. Gao Fei didn't have time to remind him to be careful, and just like Gao Fei, Tianchen was pushed backward. Gao Fei said, his punch is strange. It can release power at close range. Tianchen understood. His ability is inch explosion, which means he can unleash force in close quarters, increasing speed and strength in a very small range. This ability is perfect for close combat. Tianchen said, Gao Fei, go help the others. I'll handle this here. Gao Fei only said, be careful, then passed by Hu Feng to assist the others. Hu Feng stood still, not obstructing them. He asked, you're chasing away such a strong assistant. Are you that confident? He thought, I originally thought I could break through to the third tier in the mental space this time, but in reality, my level is still stuck at the second tier peak. He thinks, however, the latent power within my body is far beyond the second tier peak level. Anyway, this fortuitous encounter in the spiritual realm can be considered unique. Many other things have obstructed me from discovering it myself. He will have to gradually learn in such battles. And right now, what better practice can there be than someone who was once called the king of martial arts, Hu Feng, in his past life? Hu Feng said, you've surprised me too much. Since the apocalypse began, you are the only opponent I truly don't want to face. The first time I heard Qin and Wui mention you, I knew you were no ordinary person. You escaped from Ji County, and you were the one who overthrew Long Teng. Tianchen also realized that the person had been waiting here, and the rumors about the evolving martial arts were also spread by him. Hu Feng said, whether the rumors are true or not, you understand best. When you first arrived in Longhua, you were at the second-tier beginner level. On the day you overthrew the Zhao family, you reached the second-tier intermediate level, and now you've reached the second-tier peak, even breaking through to the third tier. He said, a month ago, a guy named the Manly One came to seek refuge with me and told me about your water-breaking incident and the evolving martial arts. At that time, I didn't pay much attention to it, but later, when Qin and Wui mentioned you, I made the connection to this plan. He said, by the way, I can't stand that guy called the Manly One. Every time I see him, I get goosebumps all over. Tianchen asked him, what you call a plan is actually using me to overthrow the Zhao family and take control of Longhua City, right? Hu Feng replied, here are the first surprises. The first is that I didn't expect your leveling speed to be this fast. The second surprise is that I only wanted you to turn the situation around in Longhua. Overthrowing the Zhao family is not difficult for me, but you managed to grab all the credit. The third surprise. Tianchen immediately finished his sentence for him, that you didn't expect to be able to calm the zombie tide and defeat the giant zombie. Your reputation in Longhua was overshadowed by you in the blink of an eye. Hu Feng smoked his cigarette and said, "If it were before, it would have been a bit tricky. After all, your abilities posed a threat to me, but my current goal has been achieved. Overthrowing the Zhao family to unify Longhua was my goal, but it's not the most important thing." He took off his shirt, revealing small moles on his body, resembling little tattoos. He said, "In this world, anything you do requires strength. Overthrowing the Zhao family was just one of the methods I used to improve my power." Hu Feng said, "My true goal is that pink stone on your chest." Tian Chen was taken aback. Before he could react, Hu Feng had thrown a punch at him. Fortunately, he dodged it, but still suffered an injury to his hand. "That's right, I must be a meteorite crystal converger." He knew that the stone was a meteorite crystal converger. When a high-level virus-infected person evolves to a certain stage, a territorial consciousness arises. Some special zombies even eat other zombies to expand their territory. The meteorite crystals that fall from these zombies naturally become their spoils. Zombies and humans are not the same. This highly purified viral energy accelerates their evolution. At the same time, these mutations have a very low chance of causing their bodies to generate meteorite crystal convergers. No wonder Hu Feng broke through to level 3 so quickly. It turns out he had been using a meteorite crystal converger. Tian Chen also unleashed his power. His hair and body transformed. This is good. Fighting with a punching bag of this size is more interesting. When Hu Feng saw that he regarded him as a punching bag, he angrily attacked to show Tian Chen who the real punching bag was. The two men's fists collided. Hu Feng didn't expect he was able to block my attack, and I never imagined his armor's defense could withstand my direct punch. He continued to attack him, maintaining the intensity of his assault, fighting for half an hour without stopping. No matter how strong his defensive armor was, in the end, it would eventually be broken. "Let's see how long you can keep defending," he thought. This attack was indeed very powerful. Tian Chen had to bend down to brace himself, and the defense on his body started to fall apart. Hu Feng smiled in satisfaction, saying, "Just defense alone won't be enough to handle me." Tian Chen had counted exactly 37 punches. Each of Hu Feng's recent attacks was as powerful as a full-force strike from a peak-level second-tier revolver. The defense generated by his body could absorb all 37 blows. This level of defense was even stronger than when he was at his peak in his previous life. Tian Chen began to recover the layers of defense that had been shattered. Hu Feng was taken aback. He hadn't expected Tian Chen to possess this ability. While Hu Feng was still in shock, Tian Chen started to attack him, using him as a punching bag to test his offensive strength. Tian Chen hit him so hard that Hu Feng spat blood, falling backward, flying so far that he crashed through the wall of a building. Now he realized that Tian Chen was very strong. Tian Chen thought, "It seems that the gathering of meteorite crystals has given me quite an advantage. A normal third-tier expert would either be dead or crippled after taking a hit from me. Clearly, I'm only at the peak of second tier, but why is my physical quality much stronger than his? Could it be that the armor's ability enhances my overall physical quality?" With extremely high attack and defense power, rapid recovery, and an improvement in all aspects of overall physical quality, a second-tier evolved being can possess such a perverse ability. He indeed underestimated him, and he thought, no wonder he could deal with that gigantic zombie. However, he still didn't fully understand the true power of a third-tier expert. He was the earliest awakened evolved being in Longhua. Moreover, his training progress was much faster than others. His understanding of the power of the virus was far beyond that of others. He said, "The gap between second tier and third tier cannot be bridged by your little strength. This is a new ability I discovered after breaking through to the third tier energy manipulation." Tian Chen knew about this ability. Evolving to the third tier means starting to truly come into contact with the actual application of virus energy. Completing the process of solidifying the virus energy is the first step toward controlling it. He thought, this step has caused countless third-level experts to hesitate because it's too difficult. The King of Power not only broke through to the third level but also completed the energy control so quickly. No wonder he became one of the strongest in his previous life. Hu Feng praised him, quite impressive. In my whole life, I've never praised anyone like this. You are the only one. But that's how people are sometimes. Making the right choice is more important than the efforts of the past 10 years. He had already given him the opportunity. He gathered his strength into a fist and lunged to attack him. This strike seemed to have killed Tian Shan, but in Hu Feng's eyes, there was an incredulous look. He couldn't believe it. Before his eyes, Tian Shan was blocking his attack with his bare hands. Tian Shan calmly smiled, "My energy is still a level higher than yours." He still couldn't believe it. "Clearly, you are only at the second level. How could you control this energy? This is a power only third-level beings possess." Tian Shan said, "There are many things you still don't know." He showed him his fist, and the power in it was so overwhelming that Hu Feng couldn't resist, collapsing to the ground. He couldn't believe that this was happening. In front of him was a terrifying Tian Shan, a second-level evolutionist who was as strong as a monster. At that moment, by his ear, his subordinate informed him that the armored vehicle had been blocked. Right now, Tian Shan's men have surrounded the vehicle and are attacking the door. The door is about to be breached, so they need you to join the fight to protect the vehicle. As soon as the sentence ended, the tank was pierced. The one who broke through was the little girl, Xiao Shui. This tin can took so many of my punches before it finally gave in. The frightened subordinate shouted in panic at the little girl, "Are you the one driving the vehicle?" The terrifying face of the little girl made him tremble, warning her not to come near him. The cries for help that Hu Feng heard through his earpiece were continuous, and they were not just from one person. Hu Feng fell into a state of darkness, tossing aside his earpiece. "I spent more than 3 months. Not only did I lose my own brother, but even the most trusted subordinate of mine betrayed me. And now, you've destroyed everything." Upon hearing about the betrayal, Tian Shan immediately asked about the situation of Li Wu Yi and Lin Xin. Hu Feng replied, "You understand them quite well. But those two betrayed me, and even planned to run to the club to report to you. Do you think I would let them go?" Tian Shan said that Hu Feng was nothing more than a hypocrite. Hu Feng responded, "The winner becomes king, the loser becomes a bandit. As long as the goal is achieved, who cares about the methods used?" He admitted, "You are very strong. Normally, I wouldn't want to face you. I acted recklessly without fully understanding your strength, and that was definitely a mistake." But now, he had no other choice. He had to use all his strength to throw another punch at him. Using the inch explosion technique, he sent Tian Shan flying, crashing through the wall of the building, creating a loud noise that caught everyone's attention. Luo Lan saw the situation and was about to rush to his aid, but Cao Fei stopped her. She said, "Can't you feel Hu Feng's power?" Cao Fei knew, but he trusted that Tian Shan would handle it. He said seriously, "In a battle at that level, their interference wouldn't matter." Luo Lan could only stand there, helpless, watching the fight from a distance. Tian Shan was slammed into the building, and Hu Feng approached him. He said, "Stop probing. Your armor can't withstand my full force. I want to see your true strength. Focus all your energy into your arm. This is a technique I only understood after breaking through the 3rd tier." He gathered all his energy into his punch. "Today, I will use this to decide our winner." But when the punch was thrown, he couldn't even touch Tian Shan. Tian Shan used the sword that Luo Lan had made to block the attack. He said, "That last strike has already reached the level of a 3rd-tier intermediate expert. In that case, let me show you what true energy control really is. Today, I'll test the power of this technique on you." Tian Shan spun his body and sword in front of his astonished opponent. The move caused a massive explosion, as though he had thrust his sword through Hu Feng's body. Before Hu Feng could react, his body was sliced in half. The upper half of his body slowly disappeared. Everyone there was stunned, staring at the scene before them. At this moment, Tian Shan raised his fist high to the sky, signaling that he had won. He smiled with self-satisfaction. His allies, running toward him, shouted in celebration, "We won, we won." Gao Fei ran quickly, saying, "Let's go welcome Tian Chen." "Hey, wait for me." The move just now was truly special, from Zhuo Tian Chen. After such an extended battle, Tian Chen couldn't help but feel exhausted. He leaned his sword down onto the ground and panted, "The power of this move is strong, but after using it just once, I've almost exhausted all my virus energy. It looks like I won't be able to use it again for a while." Gao Fei and Luo Lan were overjoyed when they saw Tian Chen. "Tian Chen, it's you." On the other hand, Tian Chen, upon seeing them, remained calm. "Ha! Right on time. Do you two still have the meteorites?" The two of them were taken aback. Saying that, Tian Chen placed a meteorite into his mouth. "Are you using the meteorite directly to restore your energy?" Luo Lan asked curiously. "If we bring a lot of meteorites, and you eat and fight at the same time, wouldn't you become unbeatable?" In response to the question, Tian Chen only coldly replied, "Did you forget how things ended for Zhao family? Although swallowing the meteorite directly restores energy incredibly quickly, consuming a large amount is extremely dangerous. My virus resistance is relatively strong now, so using 1 or 2 meteorites is no problem. Moreover, even though Hu Feng is dead, the chaotic situation in Longhua City still needs to be addressed as soon as possible. Any delay could lead to trouble. Therefore, recovering energy rapidly is the wisest decision at the moment." Hearing this, Gao Fei also asked, "How much have you recovered?" "About 50%. Upon hearing this, Luo Lan looked frustrated. "Only 50%? If you have to eat 2 meteorites after every strike, then just eating meteorites alone will make us broke." Gao Fei also added, "But eating too much of the meteorite has side effects as well. It looks like in the future, you'll only be able to make 1 strike." Tian Chen, however, still looked pleased with himself. "If we look at it from another perspective, who could withstand a single strike from me? Until the decisive moment, we shouldn't easily unleash this ultimate move. Besides, today, Hu Feng even gave me a huge gift. With it, I won't even need to make that 1 strike anymore." Gao Fei and Luo Lan were stunned when they saw the large stone in his hand. "What is this?" "This is a meteorite crystal aggregation, a type of mutated meteorite crystal that can store a large amount of virus energy. Not only that, but it can also absorb and release energy countless times. Unlike the energy in regular meteorite crystals, absorbing its energy has no side effects whatsoever." Luo Lan looked intrigued. "A treasure for energy charging." Tian Chen continued to explain, "Just like how recently, Hu Fengmin laid this on himself as a starting point, helping him break through to the 3rd rank. Truly a waste of heaven's resources. The energy charging meteorite crystal aggregation also has its limits. Although Hu Feng can enhance his strength with it, perhaps he will only ever reach the 4th rank in his lifetime. Rather than using it to increase his strength, it's better to treat it as a treasure for charging virus energy. Imagine the look on your opponent's face when you and he are fighting to the point of exhaustion. You pull this out and recharge your energy. See, with this, it's like you have an extra life." After hearing Tian Chen's plan, Luo Lan and Gao Fei were speechless. Luo Lan quickly took the stone from Tian Chen's hand and asked, "How do you use this?" "Don't look at it. Right now, there is no energy inside. Before he died, Hu Feng drained it all. Let's go. To recharge the meteorite crystals, we still need a large amount of meteorite crystals. Now is not the time to use it." Luo Lan had no choice but to comply, saying, "Yes. Everyone, focus. Let's go." Tian Chen spoke as he walked. "Longhua is in chaos. We need to quickly tidy up this situation and clear Hu Feng's territory." Outside, everyone was still working hard to clean up. "Hurry up, we must finish before nightfall." The two of them seemed unable to believe what had just happened. Unbelievable. In such a short time, Longhua has already been unified. Zhuo Tianchen's final move was so resounding, it's fair to say that everyone saw it. Now, almost no one dares to oppose us anymore. On this side, Xiao Shui also praised, "Sis, your brother is so impressive, no one will dare bully us anymore." However, Luo Xiaoyu's expression wasn't as good. At this moment, the Tianchen group stepped out with great authority, and everyone admired them. Truly Tian brother, this is the first time I've seen him in person. Is everything okay? Thanks to him, everything is fine. Tianchen glanced over at the guy leading the group. No wonder he's called Tingyu. In such a short time he managed to gather so many people, and not only that, he also manages everything so well. He really has talent as a leader. Brother, you've been working hard recently. Not at all, it's all thanks to you. Everyone stays because of you, the god of course. Zhang Tingyu whispered into Tianchen's ear, and Luo teacher has also put in a lot of effort to build the base.